Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about heartburn, or really actually heartburn and GERD. Okay, so this also fits really well into our perception versus reality conversation for today. So fill in the blank. You guys chime in. People think, what is heartburn? Like, what have we been told the cause of heartburn is?
Acid reflux.
High acid foods and things. Yeah. So we've been told it's too much acid.
Yeah.
And then we're prescribed or recommended to take what?
Antacid.
Yeah. Antacids. Okay. So here's the thing. This is not reality. So, okay, let's set the stage for a second. Heartburn is one of the most common symptoms reported in the United States. I've heard somewhere between 13 and 15 million people experience it almost daily. And it may be even as many as 60 million people who experience it monthly. The more serious acid reflux is when it's chronic and then diagnosed as gastroesophageal reflux disease. That's GERD, G-E-R-D. And that it's like the most common digestive disorder in the United States. Second digestive disorder is IBS. Okay. Essentially, what people experience is like a burning sensation in the chest, and gone untreated, it can have serious implications because your stomach has a lining to protect the rest of your system from the acid. Your esophagus, the walls of your esophagus are much more fragile, if you will, right? They're much more sensitive. So it can cause ulcerations, cancer of the esophagus, like consequences are real. Okay. We've been told that it's caused by stomach acid traveling up the esophagus, and we're recommended to take the antacids, whether over the counter is like Tums, right? Prescriptions like Zantac. And the idea is that these medications neutralize stomach acid or slow or stop the secretion of stomach acid. So if you look at GERD from an integrative medicine approach and you review the science and the research, what we actually see is that GERD and heartburn are not caused by high stomach acid. Rather, it's a weakness of the sphincter that's between the stomach and the esophagus. So this is called the lower esophageal sphincter, the LES. So proper function is that this sphincter allows for liquid and food to go into the stomach, and all other times it's closed unless you're burping. It opens so that you can burp. But that's the proper lower esophageal sphincter function, is it only opens at those times. So what's more interesting is that the amount of stomach acid doesn't matter if that sphincter is functioning properly. We're going to come back to that in a second. The other key point is that the medications like the antacids also don't cure heartburn, right? And it's wild when you consider the fact that 20% of adults regularly use acid-lowering drugs like proton pump inhibitors, PPIs. And we know this, that they don't cure it, because as many as 70% of people experience no benefit from taking PPIs, according to studies. Plus, they can actually make the underlying condition worse because the underlying condition is actually low stomach acid. I know. Okay. So it's not too much stomach acid. It's low stomach acid. The incidence of heartburn and GERD increases with age, corresponding to the body's natural decrease in stomach acid with age. So one study looked at men and women 65 years of age and older and found that stomach acid production was reduced by about 30%. Some of the participants also had a condition that's marked by little or no stomach acid. So if the true cause was too much stomach acid, then we would see incidences of heartburn and GERD decrease with age. But that's not what we see. We see it increase with age. Okay. Only in rare instances is excessive stomach acid production the case, and that's called Zollinger or Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. Okay. Then some people supplement with what's called HCl or pepsin, which raise stomach acid secretion, and people report that their symptoms resolve. Right? So they say they report reduced or eliminated heartburn symptoms and improved digestion. So of course, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist. but I think it's interesting to note. Okay, adding insult to injury, right? The typical recommendations for treating heartburn temporarily relieve the symptoms, but like we said, they don't solve the real problem, the underlying cause. And their potential side effects are significant. So they can increase our risk of heart attacks, dementia, kidney disease, and even death. Plus, increased risk of deteriorating gut health. So follow me on this. Stomach acid plays a critical role in proper digestion, right? It helps us break down the food. It kills the bad bacteria and yeast and parasites. Without enough stomach acid to digest our food, food is left sitting in the stomach, which can lead to acid reflux and also creates the possibility for bacterial and yeast overgrowth. So what we do want to do is focus on healthy digestion, support optimal pH levels, and look at habits that can support better function of that lower esophageal sphincter. If you're eating inflammatory foods, eating foods that you know don't agree with you, if you have any gut infections like SIBO or H. pylori, even stress, they can increase the likelihood of heartburn symptoms. So it's important to note that bacterial overgrowth causes bloating. Bloating then puts pressure on that sphincter, causing it to malfunction. Okay, low stomach acid, which happens, right, because the true cause of reflux, right, creates the perfect condition for the bacteria to grow. And then we have this extra gas and this extra pressure on the sphincter, and then the sphincter doesn't function properly. It's like this cycle. So we want to keep acid in the stomach to help prevent bacterial overgrowth. Normally, stomach acid, right, inhibits bacterial overgrowth. The stomach has a pH of like 3 or less, which is pretty acidic. So bacteria can't survive for longer than like a few minutes. When stomach acid decreases, the overall pH of the stomach rises, bacteria begins to reproduce. Bacteria overgrowth as a result of low stomach acid then does two things, right? It either restricts the carbohydrate breakdown and absorption or creates a buildup of gas. Those things increase the pressure against the sphincter, driving the forces behind acid reflux and GERD. It is a vicious cycle. So reducing the intake of inflammatory foods, spicy foods, fried foods, alcohol, instances of overeating. We don't want to recline after eating. All these things can help. And then depending on your body, because everyone is different, you might want to look at low FODMAP foods, right? We did a nutrition nugget on FODMAP a while ago. It might be a good idea to look at digestive enzymes. Steph, by the way, that's what we did with you. Do you remember this? I'm now calling you out. Sorry.
Yes. No, you're saying this episode and I'm like, yep, suffer. Well, I used to suffer a lot more with heartburn. But like you said, I've learned to sort of control it with diet. My doctor prescribed me antacids and I told him, I said, I don't want to take these. Like, I want to try to control it with diet and lifestyle. And I would say for the past few years, it's been a lot better. I have a flare up every now and then, but like, I know now why, I know what triggers it. So I'm like, yeah, I ate that spicy food, or like, yeah, I ate late at night and then laid down. So like, of course it's going to trigger it. Or I had like pizza late at night with like the tomato sauce, like bothering my stomach.
Yeah. And we did the digestive enzymes for you and that helped.
Yeah, it did. It definitely helped. It definitely helped when I would like suffer from it like almost nightly.
Yeah.
Question real fast. Is this why they say it's good to take a walk after you eat?
Partly. Okay. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like part of that is also postprandial glucose. So like your blood sugar after you eat. But yes, this is also a piece of that. So look at your digestive enzymes, right? You could potentially do that. You may want to look at how you can foster and replenish the good bacteria in the gut and help repair the intestinal lining. Work with a practitioner on this. We've discussed before prebiotics, probiotics, peribiotics, or like a postbiotic. I'll put a link in the show notes to the digestive enzymes. I love them for when I feel like I've just eaten too much. It's like 10 minutes and I feel better. So I'll give you guys that link. Questions on all the other things, feel free to reach out or talk to your healthcare provider. But that's it, guys. That's the bottom line on heartburn and GERD. They are not a function of too much acid. Rather, it's more likely to be too little acid and malfunctioning of the lower esophageal sphincter. So your antacid medications, whether prescription or over the counter, are more likely to exacerbate the issue long term And you probably best be served to look at your habits, your food choices, and some key supplementation to resolve the issue, not just put a Band-Aid on it. Steph, Beth, any questions or anything to add?
I mean, there was a lot of wealth of information in this episode. I'm excited to replay it and write some notes.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, heartburn, it's annoying when it happens. It's not comfortable. Like it feels uncomfortable, But to your point, Beth, going for a walk after you're eating, I would just recommend anybody out there that suffers from heartburn, like wait 30 minutes before you lay down. I have a bad habit of eating dinner and being tired after a long day and being like, I'm just gonna lay on the couch. And then that's
not great.
Yeah. I pay for that later.
My sister once described heartburn as nausea of the throat.
Oh.
I was like, okay. Anyway, well, thank you both for being here. Just appreciate you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll be back.
Yes. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepic. Connect with me on social media, Instagram, dare I say, connect with me on social media after this episode. All the places, I am at Jen Trepic, JENNTREPECK. Our website, asaladwithasideoffries.com. Wherever you want, send a message. I want to hear your takeaways, your ideas, what questions you have. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. And if you are not already a member, please join our membership. Go to glow.fm/saladwithasideoffries. It supports this podcast and this community, but most of all, it truly supports your health. You'll get this week's article, How to Stay Healthy While Staying Social, and the recipe for healthier soy garlic ginger chicken wings. So until next week, or really always, remember that perception is usually not reality. We're just hardwired for judgment, which means we want to recognize when it shows up, name what we're feeling, and intentionally choose our next move, whatever you want that to be. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.